Okay, so properties. We're going to talk about properties real quick. So on associative property, it states that you can regroup the numbers and you'll get the same answer. So if I took the group of numbers 4 times 3 times 2, and I had the parentheses around the 3 times 2, I will get the same answer if I moved the group and I made 4 times 3 a group times 2. So I changed where the parentheses were, but my numbers all stay the same. I still have 4 times 3 times 2. 4 times 3 times 2. So the only thing that changed is my association. So I was friends with the 3 and the 2, and now the 4 and the 3 are friends. So it just changes the groups, but your answer will stay the same. Okay? So associative property is where you change the grouping, but not the numbers. So like, for example, number 9 on your task cards. 32 times 36 times 48. In the first group, 36 times 48 is in parentheses. And then it says equals 32 times 36 times 48. And in the second one, 32 and 36 are in parentheses. This is the associative property because the number stayed in the same order. The only thing that changed was my association or grouping. Okay, so associative property is just changing the placement of the parentheses. Okay, next property is the commutative property. The commutative property states that you can move the numbers around and still arrive at the same answer. So in the commutative property, you're changing the order of the numbers. Okay, so I can say 5 times 4 times 3 is the same as 4 times 3 times 5. So I changed the numbers around, but I'm getting the same answer. This is the same thing as saying 4 times 5 equals 20 and 5 times 4 equals 20. I just flipped the numbers around, but I received the same answer. Okay, so that's the commutative property. You can flip the numbers around and you're still going to get the same answer. So on the task cards, number 6 said 24 times parentheses 15 times 18. Okay, but then it said equals parentheses 15 times 18 times 24. Notice I still have the same numbers. I just changed them around. I changed their locations. Okay, so 24 times 15 times 18, and then I flipped it 15 times 18 times 24. So I changed the location, but my answer is going to be the same. It doesn't matter which way I multiply it. It's still going to give me the same answer. Okay, so that's the commutative property. Okay, next is the distributive property. This just means multiplying the sum of 2 or more numbers by a number will give you the same result. Okay, so that's kind of confusing, but basically what it means is if I have, let's do 75 times 4, it means I can break this number apart, is basically all it's doing. So I'm going to take it and I'm going to say 24, sorry, I didn't mean 24, 25 times 4 plus 50 times 4. So all I did was take this number 75 and I broke it into 25 and 50. I'm still multiplying both numbers by 4, and then I add the two numbers together to get my answer. So say if I had the number 93 times 8. Oops. 93 times 8. Well, I can break 93 up, and I can say 90 times 8 plus 3 times 8. And that's a quicker way to get that answer, right? So 9 is in the tens place, so this makes it just be a 9 times 8, and then add a 0. And then here it's 3 times 8, and then I add my two answers together. That's the distributive property. Okay, so if you're looking at the task cards, number 8 says 7 times 100 plus 7 times 125. Equals 7 times 125. That's the distributive property because they took 125 and they broke it into two numbers. 100. Okay. Back that up. I'm sorry. Number 8, it says 7 times, oh my gosh, my pen's not working. 7 times 100 plus 7, goodness gracious, 7 times 25. There we go. Equals 7 times 125. So they took this 125 and they broke it into 100 and then 25. Okay, that's a distributive property. So number 8 would be distributive property. Okay? All right. The next one is the identity property. Okay, and then basically the identity property is just saying anything times 1 is that number. So if I was to say 4 times 25 times 1, my number would be 100. Okay, because 4 times 25 times 1, 4 times 25 is 100, times 1 would be 100. So anything times 1 is that number. 999 times 1 equals 999. So 10,000 times 1 would be 10,000. So anything times 1 is that number. So that's your properties. Let's do a couple. Number 1, it says, which of the following expressions is equivalent to 32 times 44? Okay, so basically all they did was rewrite 32 times 44. All they did was flip it and said 44 times 32. That's the same, isn't it? Okay, that is the same. Okay, same as the commutative property, where you just flip the numbers around. Okay, number 2, the box on the right shows the standard method to find the product of 28 and 67. What will complete the missing step? So all you had to do was 28 times 67. They gave you 1680, and they even give you the answer 1876. They want to know what's here. Well, to get this answer, you multiply 7 times 28. So you need to do 28 times 7 to get that answer, right? Okay. Number 3, which of the following expressions is equivalent to 13 times 35? Well, 13 times 35, isn't that the same as saying 13 times 5 and then times 7? Because that's the distributive property. It's just another way of looking at it. Okay, 7 times 5 is 35. So in this case, they broke it apart and said 13 times 5 and then multiplying the whole thing times 7. That is still the distributive property. Number 4, they're asking you to solve. Number 5 says, which of the following expressions is equivalent to 630 times 9? Okay? On number 5, you're thinking about your properties. Okay? This one would be the distributive property. We're going to take 630 and we're going to break it into 600 times 9 plus 30 times 9. That would be your distributive property. Okay, number 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. They're all asking you to answer associative, distributive, commutative properties. Okay, and then you're solving the rest of them. Okay, remember you can message me if you have any questions, but just do the best you can on this. This is just a review. Okay.